Hello, witches and warlocks. Welcome back to my channel. So nice to see you again. So here we are at the end of March. So another month's done, and of course it is now time, as promised, that I would do a Q&A session to answer some of the questions that I was asked throughout the month. Sorry I haven't really been that active at the end of this month, purely because so many things happened at once. I got a little bit busy, so I couldn't get everything done. I had a sponsored walk that I did for Macmillan. I was raising money to support the Macmillan nurses. I also had my first jab. So I've been vaccinated, at least the first jab anyway. And I was quite unwell because of it. I had a reaction to the vaccine. Nothing major, so don't worry. It's just very normal reaction. I just had really extreme flu symptoms, which sort of knocked me out for about 3 days. So, but I'm fine now, perfectly fine. Other than a bit of an achy arm, I'm perfectly fine. I'm ready for the next one. Thankfully, that won't be till at least June. So, like I said, we're going to do a Q&A. I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. I'm quite excited to see what's going to happen next month. I've got loads of stuff coming your way. Like I said, I will have my series on beginner witchcraft coming. I did want to fit another one in before the end of the month. I just have not had time. But I did promise I would do this at the end of the month, and that's why I don't look my best at the moment. I'm a bit disheveled. I haven't really done anything today, so I just got myself out of bed, had a shower, and put some comfies on. So excuse the way I look. So let's go on with it, shall we? Let's do these questions. So, question number one, which I got was, what drew you to elemental magic? Now, if for those who are out there watching this and you don't understand, I'm would class myself as an elemental witch, as well as there are other many titles of which I'll go into another time. Elemental is just one of the ones that I discuss. I'm also an eclectic witch as well. So, but elemental witch. The reason I came into elemental witch is because I didn't really choose elemental witchcraft. It sort of chose me. When I first came out, I didn't have really much. I didn't have much in a way of things to go to, like internet and all that sort of stuff. We didn't have YouTube back then. We're talking like a long time ago. So I was about 14, so we didn't have anything like that. We had books, and that was about it. And movies. And my first movie I ever saw was The Craft. And so in The Craft, if you've ever seen the original movie, number one, they are very much based around the four elements. And in their little coven, it was a case of that one was earth, one was air, one was fire, one was water. Of course, growing up as well on TV, we had lots of other witchy type programs, all based around the elements. So everything I saw that was witchcraft always had an elemental feel about them, which sort of drew me to that. And then also, as a kid, as a teenager, I used to have this vivid dream constantly over and over again that I was flying, and I would fly, and then I'd suddenly start falling in, and then I fall into the sea. And instead of like anything bad happening, I suddenly was just swimming. So I was out under the sea with the fish and coral, and it was beautiful. And then all of a sudden, I'd feel myself getting a bit hotter and a bit more lower in the sea, and I started to then get lower and lower and lower until I was suddenly tunneling through the earth. So I was going through rocks and seeing fossils and and going through dirt, and since all of a sudden I saw a bright light, and it got brighter and brighter, and then it got hotter and hotter and redder, and then suddenly I was surrounded by this bright, massive red light, and then all of a sudden I shot into the air, and realized what I'd actually shot out of was a volcano. So I was above this volcano that was spitting, flames and all this sort of stuff. And I'd have that dream a lot. And I did ask someone about it later on, and they said that it's quite common that some people astral project in their dreams, and they can go on amazing journeys. But mine always seem to go around elemental magics. So I love the elements. It's part of what I am, and I love the air. I love the earth. I love the fire of the sun. It's the sun represents the god, so it's very much my sort of thing. And water, I've been a water baby since I was as small as I can remember. So that's why I went to elemental magic. And it is a big part of most magics anyway, so it's just that I prefer to work with them. So yeah, that's I suppose question number 1 answered, I guess. That's the reason why it chose me, really. Question number 2, how did you tell your parents you were a witch, and how did they react? This is a weird one because I don't really remember telling them as such. I remember a long time of not telling them. I remember a long time of being in the broom closet and having to hide what I was doing. Because my family is a very religious family. We're very Catholic, and my parents are very religious in the way that they believe in God and the devil, and they believe in heaven and hell, and they believe in angels, which we also believe in. But because Christianity, and especially if you're a Catholic, Catholics are very much ritual based anyway. So like you'll find a lot of the time, a lot of the stuff we do as witches, they do in Catholicism. So like incense is big, huge. It's something they use all the time in their rituals. When you go to a Catholic church, they'll walk down the aisle with a swinging incense burner. So a lot of the time, most of the stuff we do in witchcraft, they do anyway. My dad's Romanian, so I come from a Romanian gypsy background. So my dad's parents and grandparents and their grandparents and so on and so on and so on, they were traveling gypsies in Romania, and they would tell fortunes. I remember going to Romania and visiting my aunt, and she showed me my first ever deck of tarot cards, because they would read palms, they would read tarot cards, they would read, they had crystal balls. They would be like fortune tellers that would go around, the women who would go around. And I mean I don't know entirely if they were legit. I don't know, but they've been practicing for a very long time. So that was my first insight into that, into divination. So yes, I have a witch background as such. They wouldn't class themselves as witches. They're more fortune tellers, which is quite common in Romania, especially old Romania. So yeah, my parents were, even though very Catholic and very religious and believe in God, they also understood that there were other things around them. Like my mum has been to clairvoyance, for instance. Like my mum believes in heaven and hell, so she believes that you can contact the dead. So there have been times when she's gone to clairvoyance to contact our relatives, and and my dad always is a big on relatives and stuff like that. We have a big family, so I don't entirely remember telling them. I remember telling them that I wanted my first tarot deck, and my mum bought that for me, so she was very open to that side of things. My mum was very anti Ouija board, and I always have been, because I don't mess with spirits. Because one, I don't feel I'm strong enough. Two, it scares me, and if something scares you, you shouldn't mess with it, because you can't control something you're scared of. And yeah, so I don't remember them kicking off big time. I just remember telling them I wanted tarot cards. I remember reading my sister's tarot in the kitchen one day. I remember having the conversation that I was a witch, and that was it really. I had very weird experiences as a kid. So my parents were sort of, I think, expecting it, because when I was a kid, I knew stuff I shouldn't known. I predicted a pregnancy in my family, to the face of the person who had already told my parents that she was barren, she couldn't have kids, and I told her she was pregnant. I was 5 years old at the time. My mum was very angry with me because she classed that as rude. But it turns out 2 weeks later she contacted my mum and she was pregnant. So I sort of knew stuff before I should. I just knew instantly weird things as a kid. So yeah, and of course I'm very much, I can read feelings. I would class myself as slightly an empath in a way. So I've always been the same since I was a kid. I can read the room. So yeah, I don't remember my parents really reacting hugely bad. They just didn't want me messing with the bad stuff. Not that Ouija board is bad, but if you can't control it, my mum's just very anti anything like that, bringing potentially something that can bring demons into the house or raise something from hell. I don't believe in heaven and hell, by the way, but my parents do. So, right. The next question. Well, I hope that answered your question anyway for you. What do you look for in a partner, and do they have to be a witch? This question came because I mentioned in a video that I was ready to fall in love again. I had a really bad experience and haven't really been looking for love, and finally I decided that I was ready, and I put myself out there online, which seemed to be enough. I didn't even have to do a spell for self-love because it somehow worked. Because after that video I got a lot of interest, not always the best interest, but a lot more interest than I was getting. Suddenly I was getting people contact me and ask me if I want to go on dates and all this sort of stuff. It was just very strange. But what do I look for in a partner? Honesty is the biggest one. I can't stand anyone who lies. You got to be open and honest from the moment that we get together. Even I expect the same from my friends, my family. Like, I don't accept lying. It's pointless. What's the point of being in a relationship if you don't know them inside and out? Like, you got to tell the truth. I just like somebody who is easygoing, that basically just wants to have an easy, nice life. I would like to hope that I would find someone who likes to travel, because I love to travel. I love the outdoors. I love to experience new things, and I don't want to stay in one place. So, I want somebody who's adventurous, I guess, and doesn't want to just stay where they are. I'm not your typical settle down, house and kids and dogs, cats, picket fence sort of person. My idea of settling down would be to get a camper van and travel the world. And go from country to country, experiencing new things, seeing the world. Going from Canada, right down to Mexico. You know what I mean? I just want to see the world and experience it, because we're not here for very long, and so you've got to experience everything you can. So I'd like someone who would have the same outlook, really, same interests, but they don't have to have the same exact interests because that would be boring too. Sometimes you want someone to challenge you a little. So I guess I'd like. I mean, I don't really have a type, so I know instantly as soon as I see someone whether I could fall for them or not. So it's all about that connection, all about that chemistry, and I think there's someone out there for everyone, and more than one person. So you got more than one soulmate, I think. You're just destined to find that one person, and when you do, you just got to make it work. Do they have to be a witch? No, not at all. Not at all. They have to be obviously accepting that I have a different religion. Because I do have a different religion. I'm pagan. I know it's an umbrella term, but yeah, I'm Wiccan. I'm pagan. And I am a witch. So I have to have somebody in my life who understands that and accepts that, and is happy for me to practice that and be happy with that and be happy with me. They don't have to be a witch though. I mean, if they were a witch, that would be ace. That would be amazing. But they don't have to be. No. Next question. Tell us about your job. My job is I'm an entertainer. So what I do for a living is I sing and I dance and I entertain. My job is to be the entertainment in a hotel. So I live in a hotel and work in a hotel. And basically what my job is to do is to, during the day, go and do fun activities with them. And I will, do anything from quizzes to game shows to movies, board games. There is loads that we do. We take them on walks. My hotel that I work for cater for an older crowd, so that it's an adult only. I have no kids that come here on holiday. So I have worked with kids in the past, and it's been great fun. So I suppose the closest it could come to event, I'm sure everyone out there pretty much has seen the film Dirty Dancing. The hotel that they work in, the dancers, that's pretty much my job. The only difference is we perform shows where we sing as well. So I may do musicals one night where we perform songs from the musicals. We do a show that revolves just around the music of Queen. We've got 2 new shows coming that revolve around just British music through the ages. I do a Bublé show myself. I've got my own show where I just sing the songs of Bublé. So I talk about Bublé's life and what he'd done and where he came from and about the music and why he done the music he did, and I sing the songs of Bublé. I also do an Elvis show as well, so I do a whole show just on Elvis songs where I sing Elvis songs and tell you the life story of Mr. Elvis Presley. And the girls do an ABBA shows too. So we got quite a few shows. And we do Christmas shows and all that stuff. So, and at the night time we dance with guests when we can. We're not allowed at the moment, but basically I'm a ballroom dancer. So I'm a trained Latin American / ballroom dancer. So I teach ballroom during the day as well. So I competed for many years at Blackpool Tower. So yes, I hope that answered your question about my job. That's what I do for a living. And the next question is, tell us about moon energy. And do you make moon water? Okay. So moon energy is actually quite a big part of my practice, my magic. I think the 2 obviously main strongest energies that we have in this entire planet is our sun and our moon. They're represented by our god and goddess in Wiccan religion, and also obviously in witchcraft. So the moon represents the feminine, and the sun represents the masculine, which is the god and goddess. And the moon is very powerful because it's the moon controls the tides. Okay, so the moon is what controls the tides, the sea going in and out, in and out. It's very strong, and it's strongest when it's at full moon. It can be very powerful. Now, a lot of people mention about the whole werewolf thing. Like, so why do werewolves come out on a full moon? Well, the reason it was because werewolves were seen in folklore that they came out on the full moon because the moon had this strong power over people, and especially men, they used to say, but that wasn't true. So basically, which is sort of true, because we're made up of like 90% water in our bodies. So our body is 90% water. Now, the moon controls water and tides. So therefore, it makes sense that the moon's energy affects us because we are 90% water. So it can make you do crazy things on the full moon. It can make you think differently on the full moon. And if you use the full moon to its full energies at the right time, you can increase your power no end, and the energies that you put out into the world. So yes, that's pretty much how I explain moon energies, because it's very powerful. It's always there, and it controls our water on the planet, and we are mainly water, so it can sort of controls us too. And if you can use your energy to get what you need in life, then the moon can help you with that. So that's why a lot of the times witches use the moon, because it's a very powerful part of our of us, really. And it's there throughout all the year. So even like where the winter time will come, so we go into Yule and all that time when the god dies and is waiting to be reborn. The moon's always there. The goddess is always there. She's she's now getting into the crone. She's preparing to get pregnant and become the maiden and mother, and she's a powerful god. So goddess. So she so the moon's always there. It never goes. So even in the coldest of winters, you can guarantee that at night the moon will always be there. So that's why it's so powerful. So yeah, so that's moon energy for me. Do I make moon water? I haven't. I must admit, I don't make moon water. No. It's a very powerful thing, moon water, and to be honest with you, I don't tend to practice magic unless I really need something. So for instance, I don't believe in having 20,000 potions and brews and God knows stuff around me unless I'm going to use it. Because the thing is, you need to put all your intention into something. So whenever you make something, you got to put your intention into it. I mean, I don't need moon water at the moment because I don't have anything to use it for. So having it there, just waiting, it's just wasted energy, which I'm not going to use. And energy eventually will go for that moon water. You can't use it after a certain time. So yeah, so I don't make moon water willy-nilly. No, I just if I needed it and what I needed called for moon water in my spell, then yes, I would make moon water. But I don't make it just for the sake of it, because I don't need anything right now. If I need something in my life really, really desperately, then yeah, that's the only time really when I do spells, is when I really need help with something. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, so we've got one more question, I think, by looks in. So what one book do you recommend? Okay, now this was a hard one when I read this, because I was like, I can't really recommend just one book, because it's a very hard subject, witchcraft. It's not just one. I can't just give you a one-off book and say this will tell you everything you need to know, because there isn't one that will tell you everything you need to know. So I got a couple that I got off my shelf and I used, and I find really well. So if you want the closest book to knowing everything, it doesn't know everything, by the way, because it doesn't go into everything, but it does. If there's like a basic thing you need to know, and you need to know all about it, history, everything. I don't think this has herbs in it, and that's why I don't want to say that it's got everything, because I must admit I've never looked for herbs in this book. Yeah, I don't think it has herbs. I could be wrong, but The Witch's Bible, it's a staple. If you're gonna have a book, you gotta have this one, really. But it's a textbook. I wouldn't recommend this for a beginner witch. It's a lot to deal with. I mean, it really is. It's tiring to go through this entire book. I must admit, it was a hard one to get through. Because the instant that you open it, it just does feel very much like a big chore. If you want to make it a bit more sparkling, a bit more fun for a newbie, this would not be the book I go for. But it is a good book to have, so I would recommend buying it eventually, and having it ready for when you are ready, because it does everything in. The only thing that puts me off is the word Bible. I don't know why. It does. It's not a term just for the Bible, because a Bible could mean anything, but yeah, that's not a. That's it's the word Bible puts me off. I don't know why. The next one, this one, is called the Witchcraft: A Beginner's Guide, which is really cool. It's by Teresa Moray. So yeah, it's a good little book. It's a very, really easy book to follow. And it just has the basics. It's literally like a starter guide to what you need to know. So yeah, definitely that one. You can't have a collection of books without having something by Scott Cunningham. And this was my one that I got by Scott Cunningham, really, because obviously I am an elemental witch, so I got his earth, air, fire, and water. The techniques from natural magic. So yeah, this is a great book if you're into elements. I definitely would recommend picking this one up because it's got everything in it. However, I tried to get it down to one book, and this is the one. Okay, so this one, and this was really weird because this was an accident. This wasn't even something I knew about or really looked for, or it's not even, I don't think, even the biggest well-known book. I don't know, but it's called The Witch's Journal: Charms, Spells, Potions, and Enchantments by Selena Silverwind. And this, the only reason I say this is the book to have for a beginner witch, is because look how laid out and fun it is. Like, look at that. It goes into chakras, it goes into a little bit of herbs, it goes into colours, it goes into like crystals a little bit. So it's got like a little bit of everything, but it's so fun and colourful and just makes you want to read it. And it's done a little bit like scrapbooky. So this one, I would say it's the closest book for a beginner, other than my friend Mandy C's book, that's a bit more advanced. But yeah, this one's definitely a great little beginner book. So if I was to recommend a book, it would be this one. I love this book, and I've read it a few times. It's a great book. I go back to this if I need to remember some basics, because you do forget the basics, especially when you start going into other things. Okay, so there was another question that I didn't put down because I sort of thought I'd answer it in the question. I just remembered I didn't. So it was about my elemental. This was the first question, and I couldn't remember what the other question was tied to it. So it was what drew to elemental magic. The other question was, have you tried any other magic? Like, have you tried any other paths? No, I haven't really. Obviously I've gone into Wicca most of my life, and I haven't really gone into kitchen witchery or green witchery or like there's a head witch. There's so many paths. The answer is plainly no. I've been an elemental witch for a very long time, since my start of my journey. But I am an eclectic witch, so yes, in a way I have sort of dabbled in every area. So I've tried a little bit of everything. I just take what I want from different paths and put it into my path and make it work for me. And that's pretty much what most people do now. And it's how witchcraft has evolved. We used to have this very Gardnerian way of working with Wicca, and everyone used to follow the Gardnerian way of working, and suddenly people started to veer off in other directions because there's witchcraft all over the world and everyone has their way of doing it. So people pick up different things from different areas. So I have dabbled in other paths, but I've never officially gone on another path. Elemental witchcraft is all, and folk natural magic for me has been the one I've always gone for, because I like the natural feel of magic, the fact that it's around you. I like to get out and about. So yeah, I'm a bit of a green witch. I'm a bit of a hedge witch. I sort of dabble on both sides, but yeah, no. In total, the question is, have I gone on other paths? No, I haven't. And that's it really. That was all the questions that was asked. So I hope it answered your questions. Anyway, I've never done one of these Q&As before. It's been quite fun to answer some questions that you may have had. So yeah, don't be shy. Don't forget, you can still ask me more questions in the description below, the comment box below, you know what I mean. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, then do subscribe, press that little button, and of course if you don't want to miss anything I do, then press that little bell notification. It will let you know. Thank you so much. I want to say another thank you to all my subscribers, because I'm so overwhelmed. I looked the other day and I'm well over the 300 mark now. I mean, I remember looking like only about a week ago and I was like coming up to the 300s, and now I'm like gone over it. Like I'm just obsessed. I'm shocked. I just don't know how to thank you all, really. You've been so great. I never thought that this would ever be anywhere near what it is right now, and if it gets bigger, then I don't know what I'm going to do. But because I never thought it would be this big. I never thought it would get anywhere near 300. I thought I'd like have 50 subscribers maybe, and now I have 300 and odd subscribers. I have friends on here who I chat to and we discuss different things between ourselves. We comment on each other's videos, and I feel like I've just started this journey with like a few people with me, and we've all met doing the same thing, and it feels quite nice because you comment on each other's videos and it feels like a little family. So it sort of takes me away from my real life that I live every day, because I don't live fully witchy all the time. My life is just my religion is my witchcraft, and I practice when I need to, but my whole life isn't witchcraft. I don't base my entire life around craft or my religion. Really, it's just part of me, and it's what I do. But I still live an everyday life like everybody else. You would, if you walk down the street, you wouldn't know I was a witch. I'm just not. I'm just an everyday person, and my job takes up a lot of my time when we are open. So yeah, so I don't I don't know how to thank you guys for being so good, and the comments are amazing. So thank you so much. I'm gonna say goodbye because I don't want to go on too long. We got a new month coming our way tomorrow. We're going into April, so I've got more unboxings coming your way. Obviously I will be throwing some videos in here and there. If there's anything particularly you'd like me to do a video on, then please let me know, because I'd like to do a video that maybe you want to see. Don't forget, I've also got my Beginner Witch series still going. I do apologise. I did really want to get another one out before the end of the month. I just had so much going on, so it will be coming, I promise. We've still got loads more to do on that, and then obviously I'm going to go into altars and tools and you name it. I'll go into everything bit by bit, and hopefully I can learn along with you. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. Thank you very much, and I will see you in April. Okay, so you remember, you guys, stay safe, you be you, and blessed be.